everybody. It's Lenora and Sarah with the Sweet Spot. It's so good to see everybody. We are taking a little break, but we have some exciting news. Sarah, do you want to share a little bit about that?
Yeah, Lenore and I have gotten so much from our Friday conversations with people and all the people that we've got to meet and interact with and talk with. We don't want to let it go, but we've been particularly inspired by some moments that have occurred on those Friday night chats, and we want to expand on that. And so we are planning and creating a series, maybe, I don't know, 6 to 8 kind of episodes, if you will. And we're inviting you to volunteer and come and sit virtually with Lenora and I and share your stories. We're calling it a moment in time. And we want you to share a moment in your life where that something that caused you a radical shift in your thinking or perspective about something in your life or the world, your community, maybe who you are or how you see the world. But yeah, we want to capture these and hear those moments in time in your life.
Yeah, I remember I think it might have been about a month ago, we've had some really great guests on. I think every time we have an episode that we film, I always have a moment in time where I'm like, oh, yes, paradigm shift happened, done. I got it. Okay.
Yes.
So one of them that stands out to me, of course, when we had Billy and Tammy on a couple weeks ago and we talked about diversity, equity, inclusion. I loved when Billy talked about, I think I just have them define what does diversity mean. And Billy just said simply, just differences. Just differences, right? And I was like, yes, that's such a great way. Like we can make things so complicated and they don't need to be. Another moment in time I think I had, again, I've had like literally every episode, but one that sticks out to me, we were talking to an interior designer, and then I think we had a realtor on, and then a stager. And so, and I can't remember her name now, but she was sharing with us, I think her name was Sarah, about, I think at the very end, Sarah asked a great question about like, what's going on for you for 2021? And she was like, I'm moving to France. And we're like, what? Like, and so she proceeded to tell us this story about her husband and how he's going to be a chef and how she's going to translate her, basically transform her business. She's been working on it and moving it so that she can just telework and be remote and then live in a different country. And I'm just like, I want to do that.
Yes. So yeah, for me, I've had a few radical shifts.
Right. Exactly.
Well, I think I've had a lot in my lifetime, but there are some that stand out. And I think specifically in that conversation, I was reflecting on, it was kind of a culmination of trying to learn how to be a better ally and advocate. And I had read this book by Tanahashi Coates last summer, I think. It was this letter to his son, talking about just the Black body and his fears for his son. And as a mom, it hit me hard and just tears. And so I had a couple of those moments. And I think I was sharing with them just the realization of, oh my gosh, I mean, I have things I have to worry about for my kids, but I never have to worry about or teach them to be afraid. I never have to teach my kids to be afraid because of the color of their skin.
Right.
And to me, that was like, just hit me in the face, like, oh, it just changed my whole view on it. It was a radical shift in my thinking. And when we talk about these radical shifts, then there's no going back.
Right, exactly.
Once you know, and going back, it just isn't possible to the old way of thinking.
No, it's not. And sometimes though, I think you have to hear the same story in different ways from different people in order for it to hit home.
Yes.
I think some of the stories that hit me, like the other day, I was watching Netflix, I think it was, and there's this series on Amend. It's called Amend, hosted by Will Smith. It's really good. I've only watched two of this episodes so far, but the two that I watched, I was just crying. I and it's just about like going back in time and talking about like slavery and the horrifying things that white people did to black people, basically. And you know, and then they showed that's what got me. I think that we're such visual people. Most of us are, if we have sight, and so we when you see something and then maybe you've seen it before. I've seen that before. I've seen that picture of a black man being lynched, but something that day got me, and I think it was the way they were telling the story of have them having a barbecue is what they called it, and lynching black men, and then also bringing their white children to watch it and dressing them up like it was some special, like it was a carnival, like it was no big deal. Like, number one, horrific. I mean, unjustly do all of that to the person, inhumane to the black man, and then to bring your child to watch it. I Something in me clicked. I'm like, that is inhuman. I mean, that's why would you ever do that? Like, it doesn't even make sense. I would never. Oh my God. Anyway, so I think I had a moment just a couple weeks ago again, and then the history books and how they've changed it to make it look like it wasn't that bad. And it just
Yeah.
that's just a story that the historical inaccuracies are driving bananas. And we need to talk about it. The schools need to change the books. And I think, like, I've got a middle schooler, and the stories that she tells me of what they talk about in class are way more accurate than I ever had when I was in school.
Yes.
So I think there's hope.
Yeah, I think so too. I'm now having all these moments flash, and I remember this time I was in college taking an anthropology class, and so I was probably 19 or 20, and which is now, when I say it out loud, I just feel ridiculous talking about the history, what we learned in class. And our professor was talking about indigenous and like kind of the history, and it was all like new information.
Wow.
I know what it was.
Like you were just born that day.
It was Columbus Day.
Oh, yeah.
So I was 20 years old when I learned
You learned.
that Columbus did not discover America.
Yep.
That's
ridiculous.
And our professor was talking about indigenous and like kind of the history, and it was all like new information.
Wow.
I know what it was.
Like you were just born that day.
It was Columbus Day.
Oh, yeah.
So I was 20 years old when I learned
You learned
that Columbus did not discover America.
Yep.
That's
ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm like 46, and
right?
26 years later, I still am like, how, like,
I know.
and there's still people that celebrate Columbus, or act like Columbus discovered America when it's so far from reality.
And why do we even have it as a day? Like, why is it still a federal holiday for, like, banks are closed? Like, why?
Yeah. Why do we still honor and celebrate that just by honoring and celebrating that story,
right,
tells me that we still have work to do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And the effort it will take to get it removed, and the backlash, and the fighting that will happen, because how could we do that? It's like,
and I'm not a divisive type person, so I appreciate having these conversations.
Oh, I do too.
Not because I'm looking to look at different, like, who's right. There's no right or wrong.
Right.
I mean, it's just like
sometimes,
I'm like, wait, there it is.
Yeah.
But I don't think we're going to get anywhere. I guess by trying to take sides and, well, we
No.
do this and do that. Nope, let's just have a conversation
Yeah.
and let's start just talking about what, what does this mean to you, and starting with empathy.
Exactly.
And like your example of the barbecues,
Mm.
come on. We got to own that and make
Absolutely.
amends for it, and just, yeah. I mean, I don't know how you begin to make amends for that, but we can't
Well, just
keep,
acknowledging it, I think,
yeah,
how about just
yeah,
acknowledging it and putting it in the history books and
yes,
stop trying to change. It's like,
yeah,
oh boy. Well,
yeah,
this is exciting. I'm excited to hear everybody's stories, and so please reach out to us. We have an email address. It's sweetspots with an S 222 @gmail.com, and we can put that in the description. And then you can also go on Facebook and message us. I think we can do it that way too, or just put it in the comments that you want to talk, and we'll reach out. And we'd love, like Sarah said, we're going to do maybe like 6 or 8 of these. We might have 2 or 1 person with us, and we're going to record these, and then we'll we'll start sharing them and posting them on Fridays at 7 o'clock. So it'll be like a
yeah,
recorded post that'll post at
yeah,
7. So I'm super excited. This
yeah,
will
me
be fun.
too. Yeah, I'm really
I
looking
hear your
forward.
story.
Yeah, yes, for sure. Hearing, yeah, because, yeah, like you said, every week I learn something new,
I do,
and it
right?
makes me, yeah, I think it makes me a better person. It makes me a better friend, a better parent. The
Exactly.
more I learn and connect with others, and yeah, I just think it just multiplies all of us, and
Right.
builds it up, builds us all up.
And I know it takes a vulnerability to share your story. So we acknowledge that it can
Yes.
be uncomfortable to kind of, and we're not asking you to bare your whole soul, but we like a little bit of it. No.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
anyway, thank you for being our audience, and thank you for joining us on this journey. And we ask that you come join us on the screen. We'd
Yeah.
love to hear your story, and we'll talk to you soon.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone.
Okay.